Have you ever faced challenges in life that seemed so overwhelming you didn't know if you could make it through? Maybe you felt like everything was falling apart and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And now as you look around, it feels like you're standing at the edge of something even bigger. It feels like a final test is waiting for you. A test that will determine if you're ready for what's next in your life. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. So many of us encounter moments like this in our journeys. The moments when everything feels uncertain and we're unsure if we're strong enough to overcome the hurdles in our path. We've all been there or will be there at some point. But here's something powerful to hold on to these very challenges. Maybe the final test that prepares you for something greater. A new chapter in life, a new mission that God has specifically designed for you. In our journey of faith and life, we often find ourselves facing difficulties that seem impossible to overcome. It's in these moments that we feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, questioning our abilities, our purpose, and sometimes even our faith. But what if I told you that the very challenges you're going through are not meant to break you but to build you? What if these challenges are not the end, but rather the final test that will equip you for the greater things that are ahead? Today, we're going to explore why the struggles you face, the obstacles that seem insurmountable, aren't the end of your story. Instead, they are the final test that's preparing you for a new, stronger, and more meaningful life. It may not feel like it now, but every challenge you face is part of God's divine plan to mold you into the person He's called you to be. These moments of struggle are His way of strengthening you, refining your character and preparing you for the purpose He has designed specifically for you. The Bible tells us that God never gives us more than we can handle, 1 Corinthians 10:13, and though we may not always understand the why behind our struggles, we can trust that there is a greater purpose behind them. God is shaping us through these trials. They are not there to destroy us, but to help us grow, to help us step into the next phase of life with a renewed sense of purpose, faith, and resilience. So as you look at the challenges you're facing right now, don't view them as obstacles that are meant to stop you. See them as the final test that's preparing you for the next level of your life. You're stronger than you think, and God is with you every step of the way, helping you to rise above. I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced a moment when you felt like the challenges in your life were testing you, but in the end they made you stronger and more resilient? How have you recognized God's hand in your life during these times? Please share your stories in the comments below. If this message resonated with you, please like and share this video with others who may need some encouragement. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more uplifting messages just like this one. Stay strong. Keep the faith and trust that your greatest breakthrough may be just around the corner. Every challenge we face isn't random. Life is full of ups and downs, and often we find ourselves standing at the intersection of unexpected trials. It's easy to think that these challenges come out of nowhere, but in reality they often serve a purpose far greater than we can initially comprehend. Sometimes life pushes us into difficult situations that test our perseverance, our patience, and our inner strength. When faced with a challenge, we often feel overwhelmed, defeated, or even discouraged. It may seem like life is throwing curveballs at us just when we thought we were finally on track. But what if I told you that challenges aren't there to destroy us? What if the hardships we encounter are actually opportunities in disguise designed to strengthen and shape us for what lies ahead? It's important to understand that every challenge, no matter how big or small, has a purpose. These obstacles are not meaningless. They are part of the grand design of our lives. God doesn't let us face hardships for no reason. Instead, He uses these times to refine us, to stretch us beyond what we thought was possible, and to prepare us for the future He has planned. Just as a blacksmith uses fire to purify and shape metal, God uses challenges to purify our character and mold us into the individuals He has called us to be. Think about it, when everything's going smoothly, there's no real pressure to grow. It's easy to become complacent when life is comfortable. But when we're pushed to our limits, we are forced to grow. When things get difficult, we tap into a deeper strength that we may not have even known we possessed. We learn to be more patient, more resilient, and more resourceful. Every challenge we face offers us the opportunity to develop qualities that will serve us not just in the present but in the future. Challenges aren't meant to break us. Though it may feel like they're pushing us to our breaking point, the reality is that challenges are designed to refine and shape us. Think of a rough stone being carved into a beautiful sculpture. The sculptor must chip away at the rough edges sometimes with force to reveal the beauty hidden within. In the same way, challenges chip away at our imperfections and weaknesses, revealing the strength and resilience that are forged in the fire of adversity. When we go through difficult times, we are being shaped in ways that would not be possible during moments of ease. Consider the analogy of a tree. In the beginning, the tree is delicate and soft, but as it grows, it encounters strong winds and storms. These forces are not there to harm the tree, but to strengthen its roots and branches. With every storm, the tree becomes more solid and unshakable. Similarly, when we face life's storms, we are forced to dig our roots deep into our faith, our values, and our inner strength. Over time, this makes us stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for whatever comes our way. The challenges we face allow us to step into new levels of maturity and self-awareness. Each step through hardship is a step toward greater maturity and a deeper understanding of ourselves. We begin to recognize strengths we never knew we had and weaknesses we need to address. We become more empathetic, compassionate, and humble. We learn that growth doesn't happen in the absence of difficulty, but through it. This is a lesson that can be seen throughout the Bible. Take Job, for instance. Job faced unimaginable suffering. He lost his health, his wealth, and his family. Yet through it all, Job's faith was tested and he emerged stronger, more refined in his trust and understanding of God. Job's story is a testament to how enduring hardships can lead to spiritual growth. In the end, Job's relationship with God was deeper, his understanding of divine purpose clearer, and his life more enriched than before his trials began. His suffering was not meaningless. It was a critical part of his spiritual journey, shaping him into a person of great faith and wisdom. Similarly, we see the story of Moses, who went from being a shepherd in the wilderness to becoming the leader of the Israelites. Moses faced countless challenges he had to confront. Pharaoh led a rebellious people through the desert and struggled with his own doubts and fears. Yet through each challenge, Moses grew in faith, leadership, and reliance on God. He learned that the difficulties he faced weren't there to defeat him, but to prepare him for the immense responsibility God had called him to. His challenges were necessary for him to grow into the man who could lead a nation to freedom. Both Job and Moses faced extreme hardship, but both came out stronger with deeper faith and a clearer understanding of their purpose. They illustrate how challenges, no matter how difficult, serve as part of the process of growth. Just like them, we can trust that our own challenges are refining us, preparing us for the next stage in life. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of individuals who faced tremendous challenges but emerged stronger as a result. David, for example, faced immense challenges early in his life. As a young shepherd boy, David was chosen by God to be the king of Israel, but before he could step into this role, he had to face the giant Goliath. This battle seemed impossible at the time, but it was precisely this challenge that positioned David to lead Israel with courage and faith. His victory over Goliath was a defining moment, but it didn't come without hardship. David had to trust God completely in the face of overwhelming odds, and it was through this experience that his faith and leadership skills were forged. Another story we can draw from is that of Esther, who through incredible challenges found herself in a position to save her people from destruction. Esther was a Jewish woman who became queen of Persia. When the lives of her people were threatened, she was faced with a decision that would put her own life in danger. But despite the risk, she trusted in God's plan and courageously acted. Her story shows us how challenges can lead to moments of great courage and purpose. Through her challenges, Esther not only saved her people, but also found her true calling in God's plan. Both David and Esther faced challenges that seemed impossible, but it was through these trials that they found their true purpose. Like them, we can find our strength and our calling through the challenges we face. Challenges are not obstacles designed to keep us from reaching our goals. They're essential parts of our journey, helping us move into a new phase of life that God has prepared for us. The difficult moments we experience are not the end of our story. They are the beginning of a new chapter 1 that is filled with greater strength, deeper faith, and a more powerful sense of purpose. Every challenge is an invitation for us to grow, to rise above, and to step into the person we were always meant to be. Remember, just as gold is refined in fire, our lives are refined through adversity. The challenges we face may seem like roadblocks, but in reality they are stepping stones toward the life God has planned for us. They push us to dig deeper into our faith, to rely more on God's strength and to trust in His timing. So when you face challenges, don't see them as setbacks. See them as opportunities for growth. Trust that God is using these moments to prepare you for something greater. Embrace the process, knowing that each hardship you endure is part of your transformation into the person God has called you to become. Just like Job, Moses, David, and Esther, you too are being refined for a purpose that will bring glory to God and fulfillment to your life. Challenges aren't meant to break you. They're designed to make you stronger. Each difficulty is a lesson, each struggle a step forward in God's perfect plan. Embrace your challenges, knowing that they are helping you grow, and trust that God is shaping you into the person you are destined to become. When we face major challenges, it often means we're on the threshold of something greater. Life has a way of testing us, especially when we're about to step into a new season, a new level of purpose, or a new chapter in our journey. In those moments, the trials we encounter may seem overwhelming, but they often serve as a preparation for what's ahead. Much like a student preparing for their final exam, the challenges we face at this point are a test to determine if we are ready to move forward and embrace the opportunities that God has in store for us. The final test is not an end, it's a defining moment. It's the point where we've learned all we can in the previous season, and now God is allowing us to prove what we've learned. It's not just about overcoming obstacles, but about showing that we are prepared for the greater responsibilities and blessings that lie ahead. Just like a student must pass their final exam to graduate to the next level, we must pass our final test to move into the next phase of life. These tests are not about whether we can handle the difficulties on our own, but rather they are a measure of how much we trust God in the midst of adversity. The final test is often a culmination of everything we've experienced up to that point: our faith, our character, and our ability to remain steadfast when things get tough. It is a test of readiness, and more importantly, it is a test that shows us how prepared we are to take on the greater purposes God has for us. God often tests our faith, and the final test is designed to see if we have the patience, endurance, and trust in Him to overcome any hardship. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well, when life is smooth and our plans are falling into place. But what about when things take a turn for the worse? What happens when we encounter obstacles we can't overcome on our own? This is where the final test comes into play. The final test often pushes us to the limits of our patience and endurance. It challenges us to remain faithful when it feels like nothing's happening and the end is nowhere in sight. It's in these moments that we're forced to rely on God, not just for help, but for strength and guidance. The test is not about our ability to control the outcome. It's about our ability to trust that God is in control even when we can't see the way forward. Patience is a key component of this test. When we're facing difficulty, our natural instinct is often to rush through it, to get out of the pain and discomfort as quickly as possible. But God uses these moments to teach us the value of waiting on His timing, waiting for His direction, and waiting for His provision. The final test often requires us to endure, to persevere through what feels like a never-ending storm, knowing that God is faithful and that His timing is perfect. Faith is also tested during these moments. It's easy to say we trust God when things are going according to plan. But when things aren't going our way, when the path seems unclear, that's when our faith is truly tested. Do we still trust God when everything is falling apart? Do we still believe that He has a plan even when we can't see it? The final test asks us to dig deep into our faith to hold on to the promises of God, even when the circumstances tell us otherwise. It's in these moments that our faith is refined, strengthened, and deepened. There are many examples in the Bible of individuals who faced significant challenges that served as their final test, preparing them for the next phase of their journey. One of the most well-known stories is that of Abraham. Abraham's faith was tested multiple times throughout his life, but perhaps his greatest test came when God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, the child of promise. God had promised Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky, and Isaac was the fulfillment of that promise. So when God told Abraham to take Isaac up to the mountain and sacrifice him, it seemed like a direct contradiction to the promise Abraham had received. This was Abraham's final test, a test of obedience, faith, and trust in God's plan. Abraham didn't hesitate. Even though he didn't understand why God would ask such a thing, he trusted that God's plan was greater than his own understanding. He was willing to obey even when the command seemed impossible. And at the last moment when Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, God stopped him and provided a ram as a substitute offering. Through this act of obedience, Abraham's faith was proven, and he was able to step into the next phase of his life with a deeper understanding of God's faithfulness. Abraham's story is a powerful reminder that the final test often involves our greatest sacrifices. It's in the moments when we are asked to give up what is most precious to us that we truly demonstrate our trust in God's plan. The final test isn't about losing something, it's about gaining a deeper relationship with God and a more profound understanding of His purpose for our lives. Another example of a final test in the Bible is Job. Job's life was marked by extreme prosperity, but in an instant he lost everything: his wealth, his health, and his family. Throughout his trials, Job was faced with the question of whether he would curse God or remain faithful. His final test came when he was confronted by his friends who suggested that his suffering was a result of his sin. Yet Job refused to turn away from God. Despite his grief and confusion, Job maintained his integrity and faith in God's goodness. In the end, God restored Job's fortunes, and his faith was proven to be unshakable. Job's final test wasn't just about his ability to endure suffering. It was about his ability to trust in God's goodness even when everything seemed to fall apart. Job's story shows us that the final test often involves questioning doubt and deep pain, but it also reveals our unwavering faith in God's ultimate plan. The final test is not just a test of physical or mental strength. It's a test of faith and readiness to step into the life God has planned for us. It's about proving that we are spiritually prepared to move forward into a new season, knowing that God is faithful and that He is in control. The final test isn't about passing or failing, it's about growing in trust, endurance, and obedience. As we face the final tests in our own lives, we need to remember that God is not punishing us, but preparing us. He is refining our character and strengthening our faith. Every challenge we face, every moment of doubt, and every step of obedience brings us closer to becoming the person He has called us to be. So when you face your own final test, don't shy away from it. Embrace it as an opportunity to deepen your faith, to prove your trust in God, and to step into the new life He has prepared for you. The final test isn't the end, it's the beginning of something greater. Trust that God has a plan and that this test is the last step before you move into the destiny He has for you. Facing a final test in life can feel overwhelming, as if the weight of the world is on your shoulders and the outcome is uncertain. Whether it's a personal trial, a professional challenge, or a spiritual test, these moments can push us to our limits. But as difficult as they are, they also serve a profound purpose in our lives, refining us, testing our faith, and preparing us for the future that God has planned for us. The key to overcoming these trials lies in holding on to our faith, being patient, and never giving up. In this section, we'll explore practical advice on how to overcome the final test, how to build perseverance and faith through hardship, and how to embrace the challenge as an opportunity for growth. When facing the final test, the most important thing is to hold on to your faith, be patient, and never give up. This may sound simple, but in practice it's often the hardest thing to do. When everything seems uncertain, when the pressure mounts and when the path forward feels unclear, it's easy to lose hope. But in those very moments, the strength of your faith is your greatest asset. 1. Hold on to your faith. Faith is the foundation that will keep you grounded when everything else feels like it's falling apart. It's not about having all the answers or understanding the reason behind every challenge you face. Instead, it's about trusting that God has a good plan for you and that He is faithful even when you cannot see the outcome. Hebrews 11:1 tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Even when you can't see how things will turn out, trust that God is working behind the scenes. 2. Be patient. Patience is a virtue, but it's also a necessary part of overcoming the final test. Sometimes God allows us to go through difficult seasons to teach us patience and endurance. It's easy to get frustrated when things don't happen according to our timeline, but God's timing is always perfect. James 5:7 encourages us to be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. Like a farmer waiting for the crops to grow, we too must wait with patience, trusting that God will bring the harvest in His time. 3. Never give up. There will be times when the temptation to give up will be strong. You might feel like you've done all you can or that things will never get better. But in those moments, it's crucial to press on. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Every step you take through the trial, every prayer you pray, and every act of faith you make is moving you closer to the breakthrough that God has for you. Don't give up just because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. God's plan is unfolding even when you can't perceive it. How to build perseverance and faith through hardship. 1. Pray and seek God's guidance. One of the most important things we can do during trials is to pray. Prayer is not only a way to bring our needs before God, but it's also a way to align our hearts with His will. Philippians 4:6-7 tells us, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." When we pray, we invite God into our circumstances, and His peace guards our hearts, helping us persevere in faith. During difficult times, seek God's guidance through His Word. The Bible is filled with promises, wisdom, and encouragement that can strengthen us when we feel weak. Psalm 105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." The Bible provides clarity, direction, and comfort when the road ahead seems unclear. By consistently reading and meditating on God's Word, we build a solid foundation that allows us to stand firm during the storms of life. 2. Remember God's good plan. When facing hardship, it's easy to become consumed with the difficulties in front of us. But it's important to remember that God has a good plan for our lives even when it doesn't feel that way. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Even when we can't see the plan, we can trust that God is always working for our good. The final test is not about the trial itself, but about trusting that God will use this time to prepare you for what's next. By reminding ourselves of God's promises and His good plan for our lives, we strengthen our faith. Each challenge we face is an opportunity to experience God's faithfulness in new ways. Every time we choose to trust Him, even when we don't understand, we grow in our relationship with Him. The final test may feel like an insurmountable obstacle, but it's important to remember that this challenge is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to build you up. Romans 5:3-4 tells us, "Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope." Every hardship is an opportunity to grow in endurance, develop character, and increase our hope. The trials we face are not there to break us, but to prepare us for the greater things God has in store. If you're facing a challenge right now, believe that this moment is an opportunity for you to grow to mature and to emerge stronger than before. Every trial you face is preparing you for the mission that God has called you to. Don't be afraid to face the difficulties head on, because every step you take through this trial is bringing you closer to your divine mission. God is using this time to refine you, to equip you, and to position you for greater things ahead. Even when the road seems long and the journey uncertain, know that God is with you every step of the way. Isaiah 41:10 assures us, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." God is not only present during our struggles, but He is actively helping us, strengthening us, and upholding us. His presence is a source of courage, and His promises are a foundation that will not fail. As we face the final test, we must trust in our ability and in God's guidance. The final test isn't just about physical or mental strength. It's about trusting that God is leading us through every challenge and that He is preparing us for something greater. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to build our faith, to rely more on God, and to grow into the person He has designed us to be. When life feels overwhelming and the final test seems impossible, remember that you are not facing it alone. God is walking with you, and He has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. Trust in His plan, trust in His timing, and know that this test is just one step in your journey toward a life of purpose, strength, and victory. The final test will pass, but what remains is a stronger, more faithful you ready to take on the next season of life, confident that God is in control and that He has a plan far greater than anything you could imagine. Don't let the challenges you face make you feel defeated. Instead, view them as opportunities for growth. You are being tested, yes, but you're also being equipped for something greater. Trust in God's guidance, rely on His strength, and know that this season is preparing you for the next step in your divine journey. Every challenge you overcome brings you one step closer to fulfilling your purpose in Him. Keep moving forward in faith, knowing that victory is on the other side. The challenges you're facing right now aren't the end of the road. They are the final test that will prepare you for greater things that God has in store for you. I know it may feel overwhelming, and the path ahead may seem unclear, but trust me, these challenges are not here to break you. They are here to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to prepare you for the next step in your journey. In every trial, God is with you. He is using these moments to build resilience, deepen your trust in Him, and develop the qualities that will help you fulfill the purpose He has for your life. When you feel like you're at your breaking point, remember that God is at work and He will carry you through. He's making you ready for something greater than you can even imagine. So be patient and trust in this journey. Don't hesitate to walk the path God has set for you, even when it feels tough or uncertain. You are chosen and He is leading the way. Each step you take, no matter how difficult, is part of a bigger plan that God is unfolding for you. Trust in His guidance and know that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. I invite you to share your stories in the comments below. How have you recognized God's hand in the challenges you've faced? Maybe you've seen His faithfulness in a way that could encourage someone else who is struggling. Your story matters, and by sharing it, you might just be the encouragement someone else needs to keep going. If this message spoke to you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspirational messages like this. We are all in this journey together, and your story is part of a much larger narrative that God is weaving. Don't let the challenges define you, but let them refine you and propel you into the beautiful future that God has in store for you. Lord, bless me and guide me through every challenge I face. Help me recognize your divine plan for my life and give me the strength to endure with faith and perseverance. May I grow through each trial and emerge stronger, ready for the path you have prepared. Thank you for your constant presence and guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.